Hello and hi, welcome back to your newest, favoritist, laziest Hunter x Hunter channel. I'm back with another video, and well, today we're talking about Kacho, Fugetsu, and kind of what's all going on with them. You know, we got this bug bite thing going on. Kacho's back, but like not really, and Fugetsu's all sick, and we kind of got this lingering question of is Luzurus behind it, or is he played into this at all? And I'm going to hopefully answer all of these questions today, or at least, give the best answers that we currently have. All right. Uh, I'm going to start this video sort of going about talking about the spirit beasts themselves and how they work, and then kind of going into how they play into some of the other things. Oh, you weren't supposed to see that. Do I still have the other one open? The fucking follies of doing this live. But we're going to talk about the Guardian Spirit Beast to start. And if you say, I already know how they work, I don't need to hear this. You don't know how they work. Nobody knows how they work, but I do. And so I'm going to tell you how they work. All right. So we know that they are, these guys are symbiotic. They, neither ability works without the other. It's very much like their relationship. They're little sisters. It's great. It's very cute. And the first of these is Fugetsu's, which is Secret Door Magical Worm. And it is a translocation ability with Fugetsu controlling the outward journey and Kacho controlling the returning. We get a lot of that from, this at the end of 383. Excuse me. But we're going to have this up for a second. So, it appears as the outgoing door is this kind of squarish with the rounded top. And then there is this sort of more rectangular or circular door, which is the returning door. And these are modeled after like some play equipment that they used to use when they were kids. Fugetsu controls both the spawning of the outgoing door and its end location. And Kacho controls the returning door and its destination. All right. And notably, when both are alive, Fugetsu can go to locations that she hasn't been to before. We see this, with her first using the ability to go say hi to Kacho, very cute. And then again, when she puts herself down to tier 3. She hadn't been to either of those places, so she can kind of go where she wants a little bit. A little bit of assumption, but only Fugetsu can open the outgoing door. And we know that Kacho can only open the returning door, but like, I'm assuming she can't open the outgoing door, but like, fucking who cares? Where are we? So the exit door always appears as this kind of seamless hatch that like blends in with the surrounding. It just kind of looks like you cut it out and just kind of popped it open. Once Fugetsu goes through her outgoing door, we see that it fizzles out and disappears. And then we also know from here that, or from this instance where she goes back, that if Fugetsu leaves her outgoing door, or her outgoing tunnel, the hatch disappears, and Fugetsu can only use this ability once per day. One complete usage, which is just her traveling and then exiting the tunnel. And then one additional wrinkle that ended up being quite consequential for the both of them is that on the way out, the door closes when Getty goes in, that's Fugetsu. And on the way back, it closes the moment Kacho goes inside the tunnel. This is actually what doomed, it was responsible for Kacho's death, because in 383, I don't know if I have the exact panel, but, Fugetsu opens the door because Kacho was urging her to. Kacho pushes Fugetsu through the outgoing door, and the outgoing door slams on Kacho, leaving her to die to those weird-looking spirit hands. Very fun. And now we're on to Kacho's ability, which is Season of 2 Without You. This is an ability of indeterminate form that, upon the death of one of the sisters, assumes the form of the one who died to protect the living sister, staying by her side until her death. Very interesting. We know that the revived sister is not immediately privy to her nature. Here we have the revived Kacho, hypothesizing that she was resurrected to protect Getty. Like maybe this is her spirit beast. They aren't immediately knowledgeable of what happened to them. We also know that the revived sister is incorporeal. She can like face through walls, face through whatever. Although I will caveat, it's this really cute panel with Kacho sitting in a chair. I don't know if she's just willing to do that or how that all works, but it is cute regardless, and I don't want to think about it too much. Um, we also know that the ghost, Kacho in this case, is visible to princes, Nen users, and non-Nen users, which is everyone. That is to say, everyone can see her, which means yeah, she's out of the war, she's out of everything. It's over. The only other thing I want to note here is that it is unknown what aura the revived sister sustains off of. This is something that we haven't gotten an answer to yet. It could be a reserve of aura that Kacho's spirit beast was like kind of stockpiling since the beginning of the war. It could be siphoned from the remaining living sister, though I don't know how likely that is. It seems quite unfair if you ask me. Or it could be, from the ore reserve from the seed urn ceremony that was like generating the guardian spirit beast in the first place. Reviving a sister that is visible to everyone, and is just like herself, and she's out of the war. Like, I don't know how much aura that would really take to like keep going. I mean, if fucking the thing created 14 Nen beasts, so like I can't imagine that is insane to do for them for the seed urn ceremony. Sorry. And the only other thing I want to talk about in the GSB section is the alterations to Magical Worm post Kacho death, and this is where some of the more interesting stuff I guess we get to talk about. Because for reasons still unknown, some of the restrictions placed on Magical Worm were lifted after Kacho's death. Most notably, Fugetsu can use her magic more than once a day, and the return door appears when she's by herself. Which that is not how the ability worked before. We also see when Kacho walks in here that the outgoing door is visible. It is still here, which we look back here, that shit disappears, dog. That shit's gone. Um, I will, put some stuff on this. Like maybe this doesn't matter that much. Maybe since Fugetsu is traveling through the return door, the other end is the outgoing door. We've never seen what the outside of a return door initiated tunnel looks like. We never see like the exit out of that. I'd assume it looks like nothing like that, but fucking we've never seen it. Who knows? The return door appears by herself. But there's actually an added stipulation, an added restriction, apart from this other stuff that lets her use the ability more freely. And that's that she can only go back to the original location when she is returning. But also, sorry, her outgoing door she can only create a tunnel to locations that she's been to, and she can only return to the location that she came from. So her ability is more useful in the short term of traveling, but there are more restrictions on how she can travel after Kacho's death. And now we're going to move on to if that was our question segment, our groundwork, now we're kind of moving on to our answer segment, which is Fugetsu, bugs, drugs, and Luzurus. To start off with, we're going to lay some groundwork on what is happening to Fugetsu, so we can kind of jump off from that. We know that bug bites, or it look like bug bites, appear on Fugetsu's upper back after the escape attempt. Kacho here says it's like a bug bite, shouldn't have that before her escape. I'm throwing some shade on this. I'm throwing some skepticism on this. The only time Kacho and Fugetsu were able to meet would have been at the banquet prior to the escape, and they were both like in their full like kind of weird skirt gown looking thing. Maybe they were able to see like each other's backs, but like they already aren't allowed private conversations anyways. So like, how would they know if they were in a changing room? I don't know. All I'm trying to say is I'm throwing some shade on this. Kacho, I have my eyes on you. And Melody contends here that they could be like an injection site, maybe indicating that a mark by Nen was, it's indicating Nen, fuck me. Fugetsu fell into someone's trap, and this is an ability that has now aggroed on her, it is activated on her. This might also explain why she's able to use her ability more than once a day. Melody even adds that like there should be two doors. One of them is a trap when she uses her ability. I don't know where Melody got that from. That's likely incorrect, but you know, it's whatever. It's besides the point. And we know that through overusing Magical Worm, Fugetsu's aura is so weak it is practically inzetsu. She has fucking nothing going on, no energy, no aura. And this combined with her mental instability is what is attracting these weak, opportunistic, evil spirits, which is actually the thing that is, you know, threatening to Fugetsu's life. This is the thing that is going to get her killed, is being in an unstable state in Zetsu, unable to ward off, you know, these evil spirits, these evil portents. That is what is going to kill her. That is what we should be worried about. And the bug bite, I think, very satisfying answer is Yushohi's Stinger Ball. That's just what it is. The Stinger Ball from this guy, Yushohi, he was assigned to Fugetsu for the first 4 days. And after Rihan eliminates Sale Sale's Guardian Spirit Beast, he kind of tags in Yushohi to go to Sale Sale's room, to go away from Fugetsu's room. We get this breakdown of Yushohi's ability, which is just a little ball, little fly. He can like kind of sense out non-Nen users, because like you would fucking swat a fly if you saw it. The way ability works is that he can just place it on a target, and as long as he's within 20 meters, it'll just kind of, I don't know, get gnarly in their system, I guess. If the Stinger Ball is like found and removed, you can't use it anymore. Using it on a non-Nen user is simpler, but it takes longer. And this was kind of like a Benjamin's sort of play of like, there's going to be Nen users, and he wants to silent assassinate other princes, other people, etc. And this is such a great ability to do that. But, you know, as we know from the current manga, once everyone knows about Nen and once shit hits the fan, it's fucking useless. And we get this panel here. Oh, fuck. Yushi switched with Rihan. Saisa's Nebis was eliminated. And that's it. This is the 5th day. So, we know for the first 4 nights, Yushohi Stinger Ball was on Fugetsu. With the 20 meter stipulation, like, I don't know how that plays with the tunnel. Maybe she's inside the tunnel. Like her position is like where the tunnel was initiated. I mean, fucking, it doesn't matter. Cause, Fugetsu certainly went beyond the 20-meter radius, when she traveled down to tier 3. But now we get into the bigger problem, and that's the drug problem. Drugs are bad, kiddos. Don't do them unless they're fun. Fugetsu's symptoms line up considerably well with an addictive drug. We can kind of think of Magical Worm as being quote-unquote laced with this drug ability. The drug ability amps up the target's Nen ability by like releasing restrictions, making it stronger, etc. And it's likely that the additional Nen cost of the amped ability is put onto the target using it. A target using their amped ability receives a high that makes them really want to keep using their ability, draining them of their aura over time. This is exactly what we see happening with Fugetsu. This is my best conjecture estimation of what is exactly happening. You know, she's in this very manic state. She's like, oh my god, like fucking this is awesome. This is like the best thing ever. I'm so happy. I'm so full of energy. I can like scout all the places. Like I'm not useless. I'm not useless. I'm not a chud. I'm not a chud. She's a chud. She's doing drugs. And this high, like her ability is more useful. There are restrictions lifted. She can use it more than once a day. But the aura attacks is way higher. And that is what is most likely putting her into this dangerous Zetsu. Right? Using Magical Worm drains Fugetsu of her energy, but every bump of Magical Worm feels fucking fantastic. Alright? And now we have a bigger question. And that is, you know, from Melody and Kacho's conversation, is this Luzurus' ability? Is this feasibly Luzurus' Guardian Spirit Beast? And to answer that, we gotta kind of go through top down what all the limitations of Guardian Spirit Beast attacking other princes and other such are. And the biggest one is, how can it harm a prince, right? We've been told before that from Ben's hypothesis that Guardian Spirit Beasts can't attack other Guardian Spirit Beasts because like fucking Ben's would have just would have just killed Wobbles if that was the case, right? And my answer here is that like maybe since it's not doing direct harm, it is fine, right? Like all this ability is doing is powering up someone else's ability, which causes them to use more aura and just makes them feel really good. It's like it's harmful, yeah, but like it's not an attack, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna put some caveats here, show my work a little bit. We know that Nen attacks can kind of just be Nen interacting with others besides the Nen user, right? This is what kind of Karapika brings up with like the Longi contract of like, healing or like support stuff. This is also what like Stealth Dolphin, what Karapika talks about with Stealth Dolphin, with like Mayor, during that. So like, little caveat there. And then going back to Nasubi, he gives us two pretty iron rules of Guardian Spirit Beasts. He says, Spirit Beasts do not kill each other, and they do not directly attack people who have Spirit Beasts, right? The importance here is directly attack. He didn't say they cannot attack. He said they cannot directly attack. And I think that fits pretty well with the modus operandi and like design philosophy of the Spirit Beasts, right? The beasts with only fangs and claws will go extinct. So much about the Succession War is about training the eventual successor to Kakin to be skilled in understanding a system, right? They need to have a talent for long-term vision and deep design work, right? And so this kind of stipulation on them is that yeah, if your Nen beast just being the physically strongest and just kind of blitzing down the other spirit beasts, that's not going to make a good ruler. That's going to make a really shit ruler, right? What a good ruler needs is a spirit beast that, is actually a utility or logistical system that they have to understand and use to win the war, right? The Guardian Spirit Beast can't just do it for them. And I think this kind of indirect harm, right, of Luzurus' Guardian Spirit Beast, like that might fit into it, right? His Spirit Beast isn't directly attacking someone with it. It was just, indirectly powering up the other person's ability, which is causing them to overuse it and become vulnerable from exhaustion. Again, the real harm of this ability is the Zetsu that it puts them in. It is the overuse of aura and the continued overuse because it's addictive. It is not the Nen ability itself that is causing the harm. And we haven't we can look again at Luzurus's, the only narration exposition box that we get of his ability, which is that it is a conjurer, it is pseudo-coercive manipulation, and it sets a trap by conjuring whatever the target desires as bait and activates once the target falls for it, right? We don't know like all the extensive forms that pseudo-coercive manipulation can show itself. Like we got a little bit with Momose's ability, like at the very beginning. But from what we do know, drug addiction tracks like fucking perfectly. It makes so much sense, right? The manipulation, it's not taking over full control of the target. It's just like exerting very limited but pointed control by encouraging them to take decisions they would not normally take, right? It is pseudo coercive. It is ostensibly coercive, but it's actually kind of not, it's not fully coercive. It is just it just looks like that. It appears like that. It is pseudo coercive. But this raises a pretty big question, right? Because if this is Luzurus' Guardian Spirit Beast ability, this is the procking of it, right? It has to set a trap by conjuring whatever the target desires as bait and activates once the target falls for it. And this, this kind of brings up like, what did it conjure for Fugetsu? Did it like conjure like a fucking sweet ass, cool ass fucking door with like some like a hot boy poster on it? Like what did it do for Fugetsu? And sadly, I think the answer is pretty obvious. I think it gave Kacho back. Like this is the first scene of KachoBeast. Fugetsu really wants Kacho back, and who opens the door but fucking Kacho, right? And this brings me to the final large section, and that is I'm putting massive fucking suspicion on KachoBeast. KachoBeast, she gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know what's up with her. I was gonna say, but I don't want to know. I do want to know. That's kind of what this video is about. This is one thing that I haven't seen anyone else talk about, and I'm gonna bring up, and maybe that you like this idea, maybe you don't. And that's the door problem. I can bring up some of these. This is every use of magical door that we've seen. And every single use, you'll notice that the door swings outwards. The hinge opens outwards. It doesn't open into the tunnel. It pulls out, right? That is every single instance of this ability. You want to know the one time it didn't? Yeah, it's when KachoBeast first appeared. We can clearly see that the door is opening into the tunnel. And not only is it opening into the tunnel, but Kacho is opening the outgoing door. It wasn't like fully confirmed. We didn't like get full knowledge of it, but we know that only Kacho can open the returning door, and so it would make sense if only Fugetsu could open the outgoing door, right? Kacho returned, Fugetsu out. But down here, yeah, we see that's the wrong one. We see Kacho just fucking fling that thing open. And whether this is a mistake, whether this matters at all, I will leave up to you. Togashi has been, I will say, kind of has been like annoyingly, fucking, I don't know. He's very purposeful in the minorest of details, right? Like everything could be something, which is both like a good thing and bad thing about this arc. So, you know, maybe this is a mistake. Maybe it's not. It was never corrected. So that leads me to believe it's not a mistake, but this is just a little thing I posted. But my main idea is that KachoBeast is a confluence of GSBs. KachoBeast is a combination of Kacho's Guardian Spirit Beast taking the form of the dead sister and Luzurus' Guardian Spirit Beast conjuring whatever the target desires, both of which fully activated when Kacho died and Fugetsu fell for this fake Kacho. Or alternatively through Kacho's dying wish, but whatever. And I don't have a lot of images here, but going back to the changes that Magical Worm had after Kacho's death, right? Magical Worm had restrictions lifted after Kacho's death. It became more useful, which lines up with this kind of drug amp idea, you know? The fact that it could be used way more often. But I always had this lingering question of why would Magical Worm, you know, then gain restrictions of Fugetsu only being able to travel to locations she had been to before, and the return door only taking her back to her starting location. Like, why add restrictions if others are being lifted? It doesn't really make sense. My best answer is that Fugetsu and Kacho's GSBs are interlinked and symbiotic, right? Even though Fugetsu owns Magical Worm, Kacho can not only interface with the ability, but only she is able to utilize certain aspects of it, right? Their abilities coexist with each other. Excluding like the drug amp stuff, if Kacho were to die normally, it is understandable that Fugetsu's usage of Magical Worm would be affected. Since Kacho isn't around, a return door cannot be opened. And a tunnel returning can't lead to a new location of Kacho's choice because she's dead, right? Both of these problems are solved by just giving Fugetsu the ability to open a returning door, but only to her starting location, which feels like a pretty fair trade-off to still allow Fugetsu to use her ability, all things considered. Because it would be fucking really poor game design on the Cedar and Ceremony's behalf if fucking one of these two died and the other one was just hoed. You know what I mean? You know, Fugetsu only be able to create a door to a location she had been to also feels like a pretty fair limitation and toning down of the ability after Kacho's death. And the other changes of just like, you know, using it more often is kind of more following the drug amp idea, right? Which is like what she's addicted to. The last thing I want to talk about is where KachoBeast starts and Luzubeast ends. I don't like that, but we're going with it. KachoBeast, as far as we've seen her, like hasn't really displayed any powers or abilities that feel out of line from what Season 2 like would have feasibly been able to do from like the very limited knowledge that we've been given on it, obviously. The real trouble here, though, with the whole Confluence stuff is the condition for KachoBeast dismissal, right? We know Season 2 stays by the other side until her death, right? That is a pretty big thing to make note of. If KachoBeast is indeed mixed with Luzurus' Guardian Spirit Beast, right? the magical worm stuff, that like that drug addiction is going to keep affecting Fugetsu until until Fugetsu dies and KachoBeast leaves, or until Luzurus is able to dismiss the ability himself. But again, since Guardian Spirit Beasts aren't controlled by the person, who knows how that exactly would work. There's a little bit of summary, but Luzurus' Guardian Spirit Beast activated onto Fugetsu when she wished for Kacho to come through the door, meaning it should be Fugetsu's magical worm that is the drug amped ability, which is what we see. Kacho's season of 2 then revived herself, Kacho, but Fugetsu also wished for Kacho's appearance, which is what mixed these two Guardian Spirit Beasts abilities together. You could also explain Fugetsu's aura weakness by being due to like season of 2 draining extra aura from her, which like substantially increased with the Luzurus stuff. But like again, we don't know who or what season of 2 like drains their aura from. So like this is a pretty weak point overall. It has been said, I think this is the most recent example. This is in 411, where Kacho's again questioning like, is she the one making Fugetsu expend more energy? Right. That is a question that has kept being posed to us, the readers. Um, this is my kind of final point here. Confluence of GSB's idea could play out in any number of different permutations. I'm not all in on Luzurus being behind the drug net ability. I'm not all in on Fugetsu being the one affected, nor am I all in on KachoBeast being the one responsible for draining Fugetsu's of aura, or even that the door shenanigans themselves are any indication that KachoBeast isn't season of two to begin with. These are all ideas. These are all theories. These are all points of discussion that if you want to talk about, feel free. I think some of these are pretty fun. And to end this off, I'm gonna quick go through a handful of things to watch out for, pretty much. Things to keep our eye on. Number one is in 383, this Royal Guard or Royal Army, I think technically, officer or person here sees Kacho and Fugetsu put in their earbuds with their little MP3 players to listen to their music. This being made a note of does make me think like maybe this will come up later, because this is, besides Kaiser and Melody, the only person that knows about like how Melody's ability works, and that like you can just negate the entire fucking thing by not hearing it, right? That's pretty important. The next thing is my goat, Ryoji. This is one of the guards that we see with Fugetsu. We've seen him twice now, and both times he's got this fucking stone face. He says nothing. We have this other guard saying like, you know, don't get worked up. Like we're the only two truly protecting Fugetsu. And that makes Ryoji sad. We don't like sad Ryoji. And then again, we see him again with Yushohi with his Stinger Ball. And Ryoji is stone faced. He is silent, just like always. That's our Ryoji, folks. Um, my whole idea here, this is fucking crackpot. This is nothing. Maybe him being always silent here and him always silent here means that fucking he knows Yushi's Stinger Ball is doing something. Maybe Ryoji comes in fucking mega clutch at some point. The Ryoji, the goat, fucking invest in stocks. I am telling you to do that. This is financial advice. The only other thing I wanted to say is we get this very interesting panel sequence, going back to some other stuff that I've talked about before. This is in 377, a bit before the final plan goes through. This is the final conversation of the plan that we see. Well, I guess no, 380 is. But we get this like scene of Melody like thinking about like the plan, like finalizing it, and then we get this 4-panel sequence of Kacho, Melody, Fugetsu, the door, and then a scene change. And we get this same sequence repeated in 403. Kacho, Melody, and Kaiser are all planning about the like plan coming up. And we get the same thing of Kacho, Melody, Kaiser this time, and then replacing the door is Fugetsu laying down, which is actually extending the frame itself to the edge of the screen, to the edge of the page, which we don't see with Magical Door. And that also ends with a scene change. This is a very custom sequence. This is a very, in my eyes, pretty obvious and intentional callback. What any of this means, who knows? Like, what does it mean that Kacho and Melody are looking this way, but now they're looking towards each other? What does it mean that Kaiser's here? What does it mean that Fugetsu has replaced the door? Who knows? It probably nothing, maybe something. I also had some more stuff about like the symbolism because like Kacho and Fugetsu, like that's a cool name. Should I go into that? Fucking, how long are we going? 30 minutes. You know what? You guys sat through this. I'm gonna give you a little treat, little fucking little treat for you guys. I could go into it too deep, but Kacho and Fugetsu is actually like a Japanese idiom, which kind of just means the beauties of nature, and like the artistic pursuits, like kind of involving such themes. Oh, by the way, I'm not Japanese. If you couldn't fucking tell, not Japanese guy here. Hi, white guy. Take all this with a massive grain of salt. This is from my own research. I have not consulted with any Japanese Nippon des knowers. Okay. Um, in its original usage, Kacho Fugetsu was like used to define like or describe like dignity and grace, but it kind of has shifted over time to just kind of be like beauties of nature, but like it's actually kind of not like like a specific descriptor of scenery. Like you don't look out at it like a waterfall and be like, oh, that's fucking Kacho Fugetsu as fuck, dog. It's more like poetic and abstract, sort of describing like the innate, like beauty of nature itself, like the peace and tranquility, the gift of life, like all that kind of wishy-washy stuff. Um, and if you look into it more, Kacho Fugetsu, this is the kanji here, you can actually separate it out into flowers and birds, wind and moon. And if you take the first part, Kacho, which is this, it is literally comprised of the kanji for flower and bird. And Fugetsu is comprised of the kanji for wind and moon, which is fun. Combined, it's like cool breeze, bright moon. And then each component of these also aligns with a season. So the spring part is flower, summer is bird, fall is wind, winter is moon. All right. And if we go down to my little symbolism section, stuff with Kacho is definitely less concrete. When Melody like first makes her little pact with herself, like in her mind of like, I'm gonna save this girl, we get a very nice picture of the sun. And then also when Kacho and Fugetsu are escaping, they where is it? Head west at full speed, west, right? The area of the setting sun, that is the direction where the sun sets, and even kind of feeds into this, saying like I never saw Kacho's guardian spirit beast. Like I feel like that's pretty intentional. I mean, not like super intentional. I mean, like the whole black whale moving east is like a metaphor for like, the sun rises to the east. So this is just the opposite going back to the shore. But like, that's intentional. That works. I like that. That's fun. Fugetsu stuff, she's like, pruning some leaves and like on this bush in her first appearance, which is like pretty Kacho Fugetsu, if you ask me. I fucking don't ask me. We also get this other panel where we have this sort of screen in Fugetsu's bedroom. And would you look at that? That is a moon with wind. That is just Fugetsu's name. That is just wind and moon. And then most recently, the little haiku thing that Basho gives. It's not a haiku. It says, pure light of winter, glittering flakes fluttering, grace the frozen path. That's all very seasonal, very wind and moon, winter imagery. Yeah. I think that, yeah, for sure, man. That's it. That's the whole video. Sorry this took a while. I finished this whole bitch like 6 days ago and just didn't fucking record it. That's how we operate. We're the laziest Hunter x Hunter channel out there. I do have some more videos planned. I think with the most recent chapter stuff, I'm pretty interested in a Beyond video. I've been stockpiling and working on that for a while now. And then I've also been working on some Haley stuff. I think you got a lot of stuff about Haley, so I'm going to talk about those two next, probably. But after that, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I have some other topics that I want to, but like nothing as specific or concrete. If you guys have any suggestions of things that you want to see talked about, any theories that you think are interesting, any theories that you have that you think are interesting, comment all that down below. Let me know. Probably read it and we'll see what happens. Thank you for all the support on the videos. It's very, very cool, very fun. If this is I want some critique, I want some feedback about the format itself. Is everything like, can you see everything all right? Does everything make sense? Is it clear? Like on the production side of the video that you see, like, is there anything glaring in your eyes that like could be made better, that I could do better? Because if so, please let me know. And also fucking subscribe and hit the button. Hit all the buttons that do the things. There's like a hype button or some shit. You can like click it and it like boosts me more in the algorithm. Fucking spam that shit for me, brother, sister, envy pal, whatever you are. Do it all. But I think that's it for me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night or wherever you are, whatever you celebrate, and hopefully I'll see you back next time. Goodbye.